Well folks, welcome back to the workshop. Today we actually have two videos in one. This is a repair video, but also a teardown video. Not often you get one like this. This is in for repair, and I'll be using this one to actually fix it. But this is kind of a special circumstances kind of video. Haven't done one like this before, and probably won't be doing one again. I'll explain why later on in the video. So, we're going to fix this one by dismantling and using the parts from this one. So let's get started. So these here is actually the Makita DDF083. This is a wee drill driver, basically small impact driver, just without the impact. Actually has a clutch just like a drill instead of an impact. Very handy wee tool. I'll explain the back story between these later on. So first off, what's the problem? A little bit obvious when you're on it here, but very obvious when you put a bit on it. Don't know how this actually happened, but a bit of an odd one. The shaft is somehow bent. Maybe it's not bent. Maybe it is just a bearing gone or something. Something flapping around back here, look. That's the problem. The bits aren't driving straight. So this here is actually belonging to a very good customer. This is actually a manufacturing company, and they've bought quite a few of these here, so not that they're looking for it to be fixed quickly, but the company I work for want to look after their good customer and want it fixed nice and quickly, so they don't want to wait for parts to come in. So they want this one dismantled to get this here one fixed. Customer's not asking for that, my boss is actually asking for this, so he's giving me this one for parts to fix this. So what should I start with? I suppose start with this and actually see what the problem is first. Now I want to just check the motor on this as well, make sure it's not damaged. So the backstory on this is actually the company it's coming in from, a manufacturing company. They bought about 20 or 30 of these here of us from the company I work for. They're about, what, 2 or 3 years ago. And the reason they got them was because of what they had before. So that just needs a little bit of a clean. In their factory they have a production line, manufacturing, and they used to have air tools, and all the fittings for all the bits and the fixtures were all hex end, so they wanted to get away from the air, but they wanted drills that would take the bits they already had, so they wanted something like these here, but they didn't come to us and they weren't looking at Makita. It's a wee bit dirty, but bearings now are okay. What they want for first is actually Hilti. So they went to Hilti first and got the rep to come up and spec out the whole factory and recommend power tools for them. So they eventually went with Hilti and got a contract with Hilti for fleet maintenance for a bunch of cordless tools. Can't remember how too many tools they actually got from Hilti, but they're all on hire type job. Now the problem they had with the Hilti tools, generally Hilti is quite good, but they're not as good as what they used to be. The problem they were having is whenever they're actually using them for manufacturing on a production line, their cordless tools were only lasting around 2 or 3 days, and then they would fail and have to be sent back to Hilti for repair. Now, it mightn't be that big a problem, you're probably saying, seeing as it's just fleet maintenance, Hilti was responsible for them, but whenever you have to have someone in an office constantly organising broken tools to be couriered down to Dublin to get fixed up and then couriered back again, it was an absolute headache. Plus there was tools constantly being taken off the production line and being put back on again. This went on for some time, and because they were under contract they were stuck with Hilti, which isn't what you want when the tools aren't lasting. But luckily for them, Hilti actually asked to break the contract because constant failures was probably costing them a fortune. So eventually Hilti was able to allow them to drop the contract so they could get out of it. There's the problem on there. It is a bad bearing. It's totally collapsed. So they got out of the contract with Hilti and they were still stuck because all the air tools were actually gone and they needed cordless tools for the production line and they didn't know which brand to go for. Luckily, one of the fellows on the production line had Makita tools and had one of these impact drivers, and he says, well, here's a wee simple option. Take my tool, use it, see if it's any good. If it does the job, get Makita stuff. So that's what they did. And after a week or two of using the Makita one, there was no problem, so they decided to stock the Makita ones instead. So they came to the shop I work for and got them to order on 20 of these here. So I had like 30 batteries and 20 chargers to run their production line. Now, one of the other advantages they had of going with Makita was that if they did have a problem, they could simply send it on to us. They already get supplies from the hardware shop, so it was no big hassle to them to send it on. Plus, they're not that far away. So if anything went wrong with them, they could send them here. I could get them sorted for them under warranty and get them back to them fairly quick. And that was one of the deals they had with the boss. When one of them failed, we just fixed them straight away because we were buying so many of them, which is fine, not a problem. How long do you reckon they actually lasted for? Put it to you this way, this is the first one I'm going to be taking apart for fixing, even though I was meant to be doing this from the start. I was meant to be doing all the warranty repairs on these things. This was 2 years ago at least, might even been longer. This is the first one of them from that company I've had on for repair. So out of all the ones I've bought, whatever it was, 20 or 30 machines, this is the first one that's actually failed. So the Hilti one only lasted a few days. The Makitas were lasting years. Tells you two things: how good the Makita stuff actually is, and how Hilti have just gone to the dogs. Stuff's still good, don't get me wrong, but they're more of a higher company now than a tool manufacturer. I am just going to have a wee peek inside of this because I'm curious. Built very similar to ones I've seen before. I just want to know if this can actually be fixed. The bearings are well shot in this. Needs a bit of a clean, but it can actually be fixed up if I know what size of bearing this is. See if I can find out. Right, this is the problem with Makita. One of the downsides why I don't like them as much. Gearbox, one piece. Doesn't tell you anything about the size of the bearings inside of this. Everything inside the gearbox is one complete kit, even down to the tool holder and all the bits on top. You can buy these bits with the tool holder separate, the sleeve, the spring, the ball and everything. But if you need the gearbox, you have to buy that as one complete kit. So I don't know what size this is, and I can't make it out. Could measure it and see, but I'll wait first to see if I can find anything. No, that's part of the top of it. Right, we'll do this like a normal warranty repair. Motor's okay. This is one piece. We'll see about dismantling and repairing that after. But for now, we'll just put it all up here. Keep it all together. Now, first of all, I'm going to clean this out, get rid of all the dust, freshen it up because I'll be reusing this. All I need to fix it is just the whole gearbox from the front to here. I'll not dismantle this one, but I will see about fixing this one. Now, that's that all cleaned out, just to get the motor in case there's any steel balls left in there. Leave that. Now we'll dismantle this to take out the gearbox. Now before I do that, I will just point out another thing. I know I said this before, but I want to just reiterate it. The hardware shop here that I work for, it's not my hardware shop. I'm an employee here, not an employer. So this hardware shop has the repair section to fix their own customers' tools and that's it. Their own tools that they sell, that's what the repair shop down here is for. Nothing extra. Kind of becoming a problem now because there's a lot of extra stuff coming on for repair. They don't mind me posting the videos, but they don't want extra work out of it. They do not want extra stuff coming on. So these videos are only just to show people how to fix the tools. They're not for extra repairs to come onto here. So if you're looking for something fixed, don't be asking how to send it on, because I can't be taking it on. It's nothing to do with me. The shop just wants to look after their own tools, and that's it. They're not looking to expand the repair section at all. Small local hardware shop, that's all they want to be doing. So don't know how, but extra people are realizing what shop it is, and they're sending stuff in. We can't be fixing them, or at least I can't be fixing them. There's not enough people on here to even deal with the stuff coming in, to then be fixing it and posting it all back out again. It's not what they want. Becoming a problem now because the shelves out there are becoming jam-packed with the amount of stuff coming on. I can't keep on top of it, and I do not want any more work coming on. You'll understand later in the next video, because the amount of stuff out there is unbelievable. So the point is, I'm just an employee here for this hardware shop, and they're not looking to take on extra repairs. So if you're looking to see how to send stuff in or to call, don't be asking to send in tools. They're not taking them in. Tools have to be bought from the shop to be fixed by this here shop, by their own customer, not just any random person sending stuff in. Because at the minute, there's people coming in with just completely random stuff that just can't even be fixed, from Parkside and Aldi tools to Halford tools, Argos even. Stuff bought on Amazon and that are not able to be fixed, and it's just taking up all my time looking at it, having to take notes and write down sheets and whatnot for having it coming into our hardware shop and then keeping records of it. It's taking too much time for stuff that cannot be fixed. So don't be taking stuff on, even as main brand stuff. If it's not bought here, they're not taking it on. So this one, we're going to do a tear down on now. Tempted to change the body over as well, but we don't really need to do that. So this, we'll just dismantle this just like in the breakdown diagram, which won't be much to it. So we'll dismantle it for the parts you can get. Obviously this tool holder comes apart into whatever 5 or 6 pieces. I've seen that already, so we'll not take that apart again. Leave it intact for this. I'm taking this apart to leave it apart, because any more of these come in for repair, they just want to be able to fix it right there and there. So the switch comes off for one, which is always a plus for any power tool. If you can't replace a switch, it's generally, or basically, just a DIY machine. The main component that can fail. So you can buy that, you can find your top lever. These are all the separate pieces. Your LED, just in case you ever need to change it, they do fail from time to time. Your armature, and then your field then. So the field is made up of 2 parts. Your actual coils, and then your controller. Controller is basically just wee Hall effect sensors. But this doesn't come with the field. This is part of the controller. Field just comes as its own. So that's the field if you ever need to change it. Do sometimes burn out if they get a lot of work. And obviously then your battery retainer. Retainer, another thing that can burn out for prolonged use, especially anything impacting. They can burn out the actual contacts on this and on the battery. That's where in a vibrating tool you want a wee bit of dampening on the battery to stop that or minimize it. So if they burn out, you can easily replace that for a few euros as well. This here is always, for any tool, the dearest part, the controller. Now that is the expensive part. If it burns out, you're basically buying a new tool basically, which is understandable. They are expensive to buy, they're the most complicated, but it's basically a computer running this here tool. But when something like a field or a switch or a battery retainer fails, a lot cheaper to replace that. But that's why some of the brands can be really annoying if they don't supply them parts. But if they group all them parts together along with the controller, it makes the tool too expensive to repair. If something like as simple as a retainer breaks, or your switch or a field, even just a wiring, run a wire breaks on it, you're basically replacing the whole tool instead of changing it, because it's all grouped together as one, because this is the expensive bit. So this is your expensive bit, your controller. You've got your body, retainer, switches, levers, a couple of screws, and then your gearbox. That is basically all the parts available for this. Just obviously you can take off these here as well, your spring, your washer, your sleeve, your clip, and your balls underneath. But everything else inside the gearbox is one piece. So this I'm not going to dismantle, because I'm just going to use it as one whole piece to repair that, because that's technically the way it's done with Makita. You can change the bearing if you dismantle it and get the right bearing, which I will try to do with this one, but otherwise that's what you're doing. You're replacing this whole component. So if this is a warranty, that would just go on as one piece, so that's the way I'm going to do it. Only thing you need to put on is your change lever, which just slides onto here in two parts. There's a little spring inside of here, two springs, sorry. They slide in there. So whenever you slide this back and forth, it's a spring loaded mechanism. So if this doesn't engage the gears when you slide it forward, it's putting this under tension of the spring, so it'll be constantly pulling the gears in until they engage. So it's a nice setup this here compared to some other gearboxes. So that's on there. The first thing I need is put the armature back in. It's kind of stuff. I'll make sure there's no wee steel balls still in there jamming it up. You should know straight away, because it'll stick to the magnet. No, that's okay. So that's in first, and your gearbox with your lever attached just clicks on the front. It should all just drop straight down. Cables just tucked down this wee hole here, make sure they're not rubbing or interfering with anything. Make sure everything's sitting in line and centered. And that should be her. Good to go. One new chucking gearbox and a Makita DDF083. That's the kind of repair you would get with a warranty job. Just a straight swap, because that's the way the part comes. Now if Makita would supply the parts inside gearboxes for drills and impactors, or drivers like this, they'd be one of the top brands, I think. But on the outside of warranty, replacing the gearbox ain't cheap. Now, that should be it. Simple as that. Nice wee tools to use these as well. But like I say, they're not an impact, they're basically just a drill with a hex end. So instead of using bits, drill bits and that, you can use hex bits like this here, either drills for drilling or bits for actually screwing. Plus they're nice and compact as well. If you want to put a shorter one, you can have the tighter spaces. You can see why they use them for assemblies. That's it. That's that one ready to go for the customer. keep them up and running nice and quick. This one, we'll see if we can fix first. So leave all these parts alone and go back to the gearbox. Because if we can't fix this, we'll just leave it disassembled to be used as spare parts. So, can we fix this up? First off, we need to find out this bearing. Right, I'm not sure if this is it, but it looks like the closest thing I'm going to have. So I haven't taken this off yet. But that is the same outside diameter, and it's reasonably close to the inside. So I'm hoping this will fit. There's nothing else here in the workshop close to this anyway. And this is the only one of these bearings I have. This is actually a 6800 bearing, an RS bearing. So hopefully chance this and it'll be the right one. I'm hoping because the shaft here is a bit slack. Hoping there's an edge in this and it's a bit bigger up here. Right. First of all, get this inner race off. Well, as you can see, there's a wee spring clip on it. You'll also have to take that off. Take that ball out before we lose it. And see if I can press this out in the bearing press, or else just grind it down and pull it off. Splitters are actually small enough to grab it. You can just easily press it off in the bearing press. So this does have a shoulder on it. Lovely, look at that. Perfect size. So I press that on and we'll see if we can rebuild this. Actually wasn't as hard as I thought. This is actually becoming quite a wee easy fix. Put this wee spring clip back on. It's just to make sure that bearing doesn't come off. That's it. That is your play taken out of your chuck. Now I'm not going to dismantle the whole gearbox. I'm going to do this as easy as possible to make it as easy as possible for anybody at home to fix. If you have one of these, let's see if it's getting any sort of heavy work eventually. This bearing will need to be changed. Well, the main thing is to go in any drill gearbox. So I just pulled that out after taking off this plate. If you look down inside, there's 3 wee keyways for this to locate onto. And then there's 2 little roller pins. 2. There's meant to be 3. So that was the other one that dropped out. Look at that. Actually does just drop back in again. So you don't have to open up the gearbox at all. And the question is, will it go back in and will it be tight enough? That's nearly too easy. Because I'm no problem. Ah, that's why. It was too easy. Then back in again. And don't forget this part. There's a wee metal sleeve for the bottom. As we pulled off whenever we take this out. So just make sure the wee slots in the spindle matches up to the ones down here. Even still just slides together, no problem. This nearly seems too easy. Right, that back on. Metal disc for bearing down on your steel balls for your clutch. Your spring plate for putting tension on that plate for your clutch. And then this here metal nut for tightening it. Just tighten that down as well to make sure it's all in the right way. It's not. It must be sighted. Wide pin here now. Fits under there. Yeah. Tighten that up. There's 2 holes in this plate. Locates onto these 2 pin holes here, or 2 pins. Can't even fit this wrong. That was a cool wee drill. If only Makita done the parts front side of here, this thing would probably last you a lifetime. Well, as long as you didn't burn it to controller, that is. Look at that. One Makita gearbox fixed with just a 6800 bearing. Makita mightn't sell it to you, but you can source that plenty of other places. If your spindle becomes slack and wobbling around, change that. Now, we forgot that piece. That's the spring detent for the clutch. That'll have to go underneath it. Slacken that again. Just a click in there. Oh, where is it? That sounds better. We deter. Now that piece is just a butt with the bearing sealed from the outside race. This side's still stuck on. And there's the inside race. Get rid of them. Just clean this down. Now it should be just a case of rebuilding this one. Then we'll have a full spare machine again. All for the price of a bearing. Now, 2 balls to go into this. I was going to say I must look for it, but I wiped everything from the bench onto the floor. So it's probably down there. If I get another one here. .85. These are just old balls from smashed bearings. Sometimes handy to keep a few, just for little awkward jobs like this. .85. Spot on. your spring. Your sleeve. No, I'm wrong. Sleeve first, then the spring, then the washer. And your clip to hold it all down. Insert. One gearbox. Now, we may as well just go ahead and rebuild this. Could just throw it in the box, but spare parts loose, it's never that great. It's better having a place for them. They always end up getting lost, so if you can keep it together in one piece, you can guaranteed to have all the parts you need. Field, your switch, make sure I've got these right. That's on there, that's on there. This is the negative. This is the positive. And then the LED. Couldn't be easier. Reinstall your armature, change lever, and your gear selector. I think that'll do. Right, what's that like? Look at that. Old gearbox, now running smooth. So that's her all fixed up and ready to be kept for other spare parts. So the gearbox, in case it fails again, is all built up again, ready to go. Decent wee tool, quite easy to work on, and you can see why they've actually went for these here and why they're not having too many problems. Decent wee machine, nicely made and easily repairable. Just a shame you can't get the parts for inside the gearbox, but if it happens to you and your spindle becomes loose and starts wobbling, it's a 6800 bearing, get you up and running again. You don't even have to dismantle the whole gearbox, only the front. You can actually do it from here too. You don't need to dismantle the whole drill. Take out them 3 screws, take off the chuck, pull off the... Actually, don't even need to take off the chuck. Take out them 3 screws and just pull everything off. Leave that there spindle attached with all the bits on it. You're taking everything off the other way anyway. So that's actually quite a wee simple repair. Can be done even easier than that again. You can see why they've lasted long and they're quite popular with them. Nice wee machine they are, and obviously a lot better than Hilti's. They're lasting years instead of days. Anyway folks, thanks for watching this wee Makita repair and teardown video. Hope you enjoyed it. If you liked it, give us a wee like and a follow down below. If there's any questions on it, you can drop us a wee comment as well. This one, I'm just going to storage now. I kept for spare parts in case you ever get another one on again. All the spare parts for it now. Now the one that was just repaired, I'm not even sure if it's a warranty repair or not. They could be paying for the repair or it could be a warranty, so I've done it to suit either way. It'll be up to the boys in the office to work out if it's a warranty repair, depending on when it was bought. But if it's warranty, it's not a problem. It's a whole part assembly anyway. If it's not a warranty repair, it only costs about €60 to actually fix. So still well worth it at that. Anyway folks, chat to you later.